welcome to Active and Healthy with Gina. I look forward to welcoming you today and to our special theme, which we're going to do after our exercises, which is the bucket list. Your bucket list, my bucket list, and I'm going to share something I did recently as one of my things on my bucket list, which is getting to the Kruger and the national parks. So we're going to share that during the discussion part of the show, but for the moment we are going to get started, and great fun. Today we're at home, we're in my home gym, but this is what I do when I'm not doing Ageless Grace, 9 classes a week, is I can always get onto the treadmill, I can get onto the bike. For those who are watching, there is not a treadmill here. I'm just seeing who's awake. I've got a treadmill and an elliptical trainer. So when the weather's bad, no excuse not to be exercising and to be doing something. As we know, exercise is so important, particularly to keep our brains young and youthful. So everybody, I hope that you're ready. You've got a nice firm chair. You're sitting barefoot is easiest, and you've got room to move without knocking any family members. And we're going to get started with our spine today. So we're going to take the arms, and we're just going to gently turn side to side. Let these elbows swing. Let the nose follow the elbows. So this is all about activating all 26 bones, vertebra, getting them moving. Stretch that arm out a little further. Let the head follow those hands. So it's a little twist, it's a little turn. Just side. And side, and side, and side. Now put the elbows up in the air. Your hands are on the shoulders. I want you to take one elbow, it's a little twist to the opposite knee. We're lifting that knee up and down. So it's a up, down. It's about finding your speed. You can do it really slowly, as if it's slow motion, because you want to lift that hip, the knee, and a little twist. So you're using the whole upper body, getting this spine moving. Very good. Side to side at your pace. Arms down, push across and back. Push it across and lean back. Across, lean back. Across. Last one this side, and let's change sides. So we're just leaning backwards, and we're then pushing across the body. So we're rotating on that waist. Last one, got to keep going. So as I said, I was in the Kruger, inspired by all those wonderful animals. So one of the things we saw was some lionesses. There were 2 lionesses on one side, and on the other side of the river, dry riverbed, there was another lioness. So 3 of them in a pack, waiting to stalk on some poor antelope. So they were lying on their tummies, moving forward. And the only thing being is one of them took off. Come on, running. Lioness is running now. Tried to pounce on the Nyala, but it took off. Gone. The other lionesses looked really, really disgusting. Beautiful, big elephants, big feet. So imagine you've got big elephant feet and a big trunk, pulling branches, trying to get that down into the mouth. Other arm, that's the trunk this time. Pull, reaching down. And what about reaching into the water? And then they spray themselves down their backs. And they spray all around with those wonderful big trunks. What about the other hand coming in now, coming down into the water again and drinking? And the other thing they do is they love just putting dust over themselves. Cools the skin down. Other hand, trunk. Still bringing it down, throwing it over the back. My big excitement, which I'll talk about, was seeing wild dog. They've got these cute little ears, look a bit like Mickey Mouse, they're quite round. Painted dog, wild dog. They were very relaxed. They were just sleeping. Legs crossed, they look so like a dog. Little scratch here, scratch there, Scratch on the leg? Lots of animals. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Now, here in the Western Cape, we have got a severe water restriction. But no excuse, got a bucket out underneath your drain pipe, collecting some water, because we still got to keep our cars clean. So many white cars in the Western Cape, mine included. Okay, got to get my bucket out. Going out to wash my car today. I've got a nice big bucket full collected from the drain pipe. Free water, because it's come from the heavens. So I'm going to pour it into my bucket. Oh, 25 litres is quite heavy, you know. Oh, okay. Squeeze in a little bit of washing up liquid because I need some soap. Very good. Other hand in, you're going to get your sponge out. Now we're washing down the side of the car, get all that dust and dirt off. It's not the car I took to the Kruger, that was my son's. He's got to wash his own. Okay, rinse it out. Other hand in. Imagine we're now on the other side of the car. Just washing the side of the doors. And we're going to take that bucket and splosh it. Wash off all the soap. Okay. Put the bucket down. We're going to fill it from our big container. It's lighter now because we've poured some in. This is now the clean water to rinse off the windows. So now we're cleaning our windows. Nice round motions with that shoulder and the hand. Imagine the cloth flat. All about using your imagination. Best brain exercise, best way of keeping fit. Exercise this brain as well as the body. Other hand in. Clean water here. Washing. Maybe it's a chamois leather this time. Here we are, a little bit of car washing. Got to still be able to keep your cars clean in this weather. So our last exercise today is going to be our stretches, our Tri-Chi. This is all about your flexibility. As the name says, Chi is energy. So you're thinking about bringing energy into the body. We're reaching out, bringing energy in. So let the head and the arm go to the side. Nice, slow rhythms. It's just a slow, fluid out. And the other side. So we're going to take the arm out and back and out and back. And I want both arms coming forward and in. So imagine scooping energy in. What about imagining that it's liquid sunlight flowing down through the center of your head, down through your face, down through the body, out through the legs, out through your knees. And just imagine you're throwing all this extra energy down off the body and swish, side, side. Sharing the energy and side, side, side. And a nice slow arms up. And we're bringing the hands in front of your face and pushing out. Turn your palms towards you. Imagine energy in, out. There's always somebody around you who needs more energy at this time of year. So push it out to them. Bring it in for you. Last one this side and a few the other side. Out and in. Coming to the end of the year. I know people are tired. Hopefully you've got a break coming up for the festive season. Recharge your batteries for a new year. And hands side to side. Push, 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 push. And a big sweep, side. And there is our Ageless Grace exercise finished for this session. What I want you to do is, we take a little break here, you get your water, come back, relax, and we're going to talk about bucket list. So maybe bring a pen and a piece of paper, and we're going to sit down and bounce some ideas. You've probably got your own ideas as well. So, welcome back to Active and Healthy with Gina. I hope you had fun, both body and brain, during that stage. So, as I said, today's topic is the bucket list. So you may have heard of this expression, you may know about it, you may have one already. But if you don't, what is it? Well, the concept is that we should all have things easily kept on a list of the special events, places, people, things that we want to do before the end of our lives. Now, you might say, well, listen, I'm either too old, don't have enough money, don't have the capabilities of being able to do all the things that I want to do. Well, the great thing is that due to the magic of the internet, of YouTube, of community channels, of all sorts of different things, there are many different ways that you can get access to information about the things that you're interested in. So one of the things that I'm always amazed, for me, being British but living here in South Africa, one of the things that was high on my bucket list, and it took a long time to be able to find and to see, was to see the leopard in the wild. So I was lucky that I had children. My elder two children went to Rhodes University. So there were many times when they were at the university that we would go to game parks in the Eastern Cape. And we had the opportunity to go and see many of the big five. So the big five, for those of us who live in Africa, are the rhino, the elephant, the buffalo, the lion, and the leopard. So we saw 4 of them, but that leopard was definitely elusive. It is one of the hardest creatures to see. And I think once we saw the flash of a tail in the Eastern Cape, and we went tearing off into the bush to find it, but it took off far too fast. So I refuse to count that as a sighting, because it was a tail of something, but it could have been anything. We are very, very lucky here in South Africa that with SAM Parks, which is our South African national parks, we have the most incredible infrastructure that is affordable for absolutely anybody to go to. So my son has been working up in Hoedspruit, so it was wonderful to be able to just enter through the open gate and to go to one of the game parks. So we went and stayed at the lodge, Olifants, right on the Olifants River. And they have lots of rondavels, very inexpensive to stay. They also have little cottages that if you're a family of 4, that you can stay there as well. And they are a fraction of the price that the private lodges charge. And the great advantage of being in the Kruger, which by the way is the size of Belgium or the size of Wales, and takes you days to drive through because you're not allowed to go more than 50 miles an hour, quite rightly, because you never know when you're going to come around a corner and go bang into a large elephant, plus the rest of the troop crossing the road. Or, as we found, a whole lot of wild dog just lying in the road. So there are speed restrictions. And the Kruger has tarmac roads, and there are some people who think, oh, well, you don't want to go on the tarmac roads. Well, this month, we were up in the Kruger. I was with my 2 older children, my best friend from England, and for the first time I got to see a pack of wild dog. So we're going to put up a picture so you can see them if you've never seen them in the wild. They truly, truly are magnificent. And one of the reasons that the packs don't survive is that they are prone to various illnesses. It can be rabies, and if it gets one, it will tend to wipe out a pack. So the previous time I had been in the Kruger, they were asking for any sightings because nobody was seeing any. Well, here we were heading off to the lodge where you have to be in at 6:30 at night, otherwise you get fined, a very good regulation. And suddenly there were 17 of them all over the tarmac road, everywhere. They were in front of the car, they were walking alongside the car, some of them were just kind of lying at the side of the car. And we all screamed because my children, who've regularly been on game drives as well, my best friend who'd never been on a game drive before, just could not believe this sight that we saw. So to see something like that is joyful, it is uplifting, it is a gift, it is something that you just have to give thanks that here in this country we can do something quite so magical. So there are many great places around the world that you can go, but we have so much to offer right here in South Africa. So I can really, really encourage you that even if you've been to the bush before, I would say make sure that that is still way, way, way up there on your bucket list, because to have the opportunity to go and see animals in the wild is truly, truly a magical moment. So just after we were seeing the wild packs, heading now with our clocks ticking to be able to get in the gate before it closed, which, by the way, we reached at 6:29, cutting it fine, even for my son. And there, in the distance, I saw a large animal cross the road. And it was now 6:15, so it was twilight, but we went up there as fast as we could, at 50 miles an hour, of course, and had to grind to a halt because we'd missed it. It had gone into the bush. We had to reverse, and sure enough, I looked to the side and it was a leopard, a big male leopard, but unfortunately already too far back in the bush for us to be able to see clearly. Well, very luckily the next day we went off to another reserve, and we were taken out on a jeep with the tracker in the front, and we were just looking at all the creatures that were around. Lots of animals were popping up and about. And then suddenly there was a large vulture in the tree. I said, oh, can we just stop and look? Because I hadn't got that close to a vulture before. So we were stopping and looking. And the tracker, who was at the front of the Jeep, suddenly looked down underneath the tree. And sitting underneath the tree was a huge male leopard with its kill. So, I mean, it's the kind of moment that just brings goosebumps, because you hold your breath and you just go, wow, I hope it stays there long enough for me to be able to see it properly and get a picture. You'll see the picture. And we were able to take the Jeep just round the other side of the tree, and there it was. It was obviously very full, very relaxed, very chilled, had a big meal. Wasn't worried about the vulture up in the tree coming to take its kill from it. It was only one. And you just sat there again in wonder at one of the most magnificent creatures on the planet, with this incredible coloring, this amazing face, these great orange eyes, and it's hypnotic. So if you've been to the bush, doesn't matter, put it back up there, because I've just been, I've just reminded myself that is on the bucket list annually as something that you have to do. So where else? As I said, we have many, many great things here in South Africa. We've got wonderful, wonderful coastlines. We've got amazing mountains. We've got the Drakensberg. We've got the Midlands. We've got wonderful, wonderful parts of this country and this continent. I know this program's going out across Africa, and there are many, many other wonderful parts of Africa. Also on my bucket list is to get to Rwanda. I'd love to see the gorillas. And what about getting to see the great migration? 1 million wildebeest just going across, seeing Mount Kilimanjaro. That's got to be something worth adding to a bucket list. So here in Africa, we have got plenty and plenty of things to do. One of the things I always wanted to do was to do a balloon safari over the Masai Mara. So that means you've got to get up to Kenya at some stage. Maybe that's worth adding to your bucket list. But how about expanding our vision for a bucket list that's outside of Africa? So I know for me, I've never been to South America, and Machu Picchu and Peru and the Galapagos Islands, so where Darwin wrote The Origin of Species, and where you have got some of the rarest creatures on the planet, some of the oldest creatures on the planet, and a very, very protective and a very, very special area. So that's something I would like to do. It means you've got to get to Ecuador. Suddenly you start discovering these things. Well, if I want to go to the Galapagos, where do I need to go? Well, technically the Galapagos is part of Ecuador. Machu Picchu is in Peru. You've got to be willing to go and acclimatize yourself, because it's very, very high up. So talking about high up, I think, what about Nepal? What about the Himalayas? I have no wish to climb Mount Everest. Maybe you want to go and climb something, but maybe choose something a little bit easier. Mount Kilimanjaro, I believe, is manageable, but even again, people talk about the thinner air the higher you get. So choose and think about the places you would like to have to your bucket list. I hope maybe you've had some thoughts as we've been writing them down. Maybe you want to go to Rome. Maybe you want to go and do that wonderful Amalfi Coast in Italy. I can tell you though that Chapman's Peak in Cape Town is pretty good as well, and without all the development. Maybe you want to go to France and take a barge and go down through the Loire Valley. Maybe you want to sail down the Rhine in Germany. Maybe you want to go to Switzerland in the snow. One of the things here in this country we don't get to see an awful lot of is to get to the snow. Maybe you want to go skiing in Aspen in America. The choices of what we can do are limitless, and travel is one of life's great, great joys. So I encourage you to put that down. Maybe you've got friends, relatives, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your children, maybe it's your grandchildren who live somewhere overseas. I haven't even mentioned the country I originate from. What about going to London or Windsor? Windsor actually was my hometown. The first castle I ever saw was Windsor Castle. Topically in the news, happy wishes now to Prince Harry and to his lovely fiancée Meghan. And Windsor Castle is where they're going to be getting married in May. So maybe you'd love to go to England. So a bucket list of things that you would like to do. Regardless of whether you ever get to do them, you can still investigate them. You can maybe get together with a friend and say, listen, let's find out everything we can about going to Italy, going to England, going to America, going to Malaysia. Can I recommend the island of Langkawi if you've never been to Malaysia? Absolutely wonderful. For me, I think Malaysia has some of the greatest food on the planet. I was very lucky. I actually got to live and work there for a year. So very, very, very much fell in love with the Malaysian people. And it's a wonderful combination. It's a real rich combination of how a variety of different cultures live together, because you have got the Malay, you have got the Chinese, you have got the Indians. And so that combination of people and races, cultures and food is uniquely special. So I hope that you have enjoyed today's topic. I hope that you'll get to work on your bucket list. I hope that maybe we're going to start a conversation on Facebook so that we get to hear about where some of your favorite places are, where you'd like to go, what you would like to do, who you'd like to share these journeys with. Maybe there's some special people you'd like to be able to do that journey with. Maybe you put that on your bucket list as well. People you want to go and visit, places you want to visit and to see. Thank you for sharing the bucket list. I hope you enjoyed me sharing some of my bucket list with you and sharing some of the Kruger. And if you haven't been there lately, may I just suggest, great time to go and visit again. Look forward to seeing you next week. Stay fit, stay healthy, and let's meet again for Active and Healthy with Gina. Bye-bye.